logistics, leadership, and Lego, how modular thinking is reshaping intralogistics. Hey, when hardware becomes software defined, the real product is trust. Today, we are talking to someone who's quite literally rebuilding how the world moves. So one hexagon at a time or one Lego brick at a time. Hendrik Thamer, he's CEO and co-founder of Cellumation, a company that's shaking up intralogistics with a conveyor system that looks more like a swarm of robots than a traditional belt. But behind the tech or behind this hardware, there is a bigger story. And the story is about trust, about scale, and what it means to lead a deep tech team beyond the prototype. And Hendrik, great to have you here in the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mark. It's a pleasure to be here.
Today, we are going to ask you the key question, like why is trust the hardest part of tech transformation, especially when you touch this mission critical system? So you are operating at the heart of companies and they need to leave you in the logistic, in the internal operations. So it sounds like high risk, long decision cycles. Exactly. And this is where we dive deeper today.
Yeah, that's exactly the core or key learning I've gained here in my Cellumation time, starting from developing the technology to bring it in operation is a very, very long and a way you normally underestimate, I think.
You came out of engineering and then you stepped into the CEO role of your company today. Can you elaborate? What made you make this step?
Looking into the past, it is a very big step. I started, as you said, as a coder. I studied computer science and made my PhD in engineering. And I worked together with two colleagues in a university institute, developing robots for container unloading. Everything was logistics. And one day, one of my co-founders had the idea of this conveyors system. And we said, okay, that's a very nice idea. Let's make a spin-off out of that. We were all technicians. I was coder, my co-founder, mechanical engineer, and the third guy, software. And during my university time, I was also head of department. So I had a small experience with leadership and making some research grants and proposals. And so we decided three guys as founders. Somebody has to take care of the numbers and the clients. This was my role. I took it over. And yeah, it was a huge journey. And when I look back, the guy who I was as I started and today, it's a long, very big learning curve. And I really like it. And I totally know the value that I understand the technology. I know what's software engineering, what's mechanical engineering, of course, on an abstract level, not in detail, but I understand it. And so I think the CEO role is good in a startup or a deep tech startup when the guy has also some technical experience, but also needs to know what want the client, who are the clients, have the relationships with clients. So it was a journey, but and at the university, I never expected that this will be my role in the future, of course.
For all those who don't know a lot about intralogistics, and when we talk about those swarm of robotic tiles and this kind of hexagon Lego bricks, can you explain simply like how can we imagine this kind of innovation?
Yes, it's a conveyor, but not a normal conveyor like you know from the airports. Normal conveyors are transporting boxes sequentially, and we have a small element, 15 centimeters in the width, and you can combine the cells like Lego bricks, like you said in the introduction, to arbitrary layouts. And then you have a camera on top, and then you can move the parcels like magic in all directions, change the orientation, change the sequence. And this is all done by software. And the uniqueness is that our hardware is able to perform every conveyor functionality in the market. For comparison, the sortation machine is totally different, like a sequencing machine in normal conveyors. For us, it's the same hardware, but the software makes a difference. And that's our USP. We save a lot of space, are very labor friendly. That means we have a low noise, easy to maintain. The modules can be replaced 3 minutes, 2 minutes. It's very easy for everyone who can use a screwdriver can make the maintenance of our system. So it's a very easy, space-saving, cost-effective, and flexible system.
Hey, but still, your name is not ABB and you're presenting the new roboter, but you are at the same time operating at the heart of your client's operation. So you basically know everything which goes through, like all the goods which will be delivered will somehow be scanned. Can you point out, like, how do you win the trust if you have this kind of critical operations and focus, and there you need to be the best with the software, as you just pointed out. But yeah, you're not the most known company yet.
True. That was a point we totally underestimated as we started. We thought, okay, we have a unique technology. It solves so many problems, a different approach for material flow and the interlogistics. But it was very hard to sell it. And we didn't understand it during this time why it's the reason, because we presented it to many companies and they said, okay, it's very nice, it's fantastic, but the decision to implement it took very long. Looking back, I would say I totally now know the client and what are his concerns, what's the problem with such a technology. As you said, we are going to the heart of a logistics operation for complete warehouse. When we fail, the whole line stops, and nobody wants to be responsible for that, especially when you're the first one implementing the system in the market. So in the beginning, we had a lack of references. We had only some small pilots in, I would say, friendly conditions. So nothing could be really go wrong. And then as we had the first installations, then Corona was coming, the pandemic, and nobody was able to visit the site. And in the material flow, material handling industry, the people needs to see that it's running somewhere. And they want to talk with somebody who said, yes, I've implemented it and I have no problems. I sleep well. That's the human factor in this kind of decisions is so big. And sometimes I think we forget this because everything is going digital, AI, online. Everything's automatic. And in some industries, and especially in the interlogistics, it's a people business, and people buy from people, and they want to have this security that everything is going right. And during Corona, we also made the shift to online presentations, but it was not successful. And in 2023, we made a total shift of the sales approach and made this touch points to the customers. Presented it directly when an inquiry was interesting for us. We visit the customer as soon as possible. And this is something that I would say was the game changer. The technology was every time good. Nothing has really changed from the outside for a customer. Of course, on the inside a lot. But the approach for talking with people, and sometimes, as somebody said, B2B business, that's our area. In reality, it's P2P, people to people. That's, I think I can totally agree on. And especially as a founder, there are many concerns. Of course, the concern that the machine will fail is one of them. But there's another one when a young company, nobody knows what will happen to it. Will it be acquired by a big company from a competitor? Will it go bankruptcy? That's something people must know. No, it's not true, but they must have a feeling. And I never forget when a big customer visited our office here in Bremen, and he said, Hendrik, I'm so happy that you're a real company, as he's has seen everything here, the production hall and the offices. Because young company, startup, scale up, that could be everything. Could be a very good company with nice looking modern offices, but could also be like this classical garage where everybody is fixing problems without a plan. And so it's very important that you get these impressions. And we also changed our presentations in this kind of area to address the pains we know from the customer, not from the product, not from the technology, but from the company and the situation where we're implementing it very early, to address it directly and to talk open and honest about that. And I think this was a big game changer. And the trust between customers, clients, employees, that's one of the key things here at Cellumation. We have achieved a lot in the last years.
When you speak about these people, I mean, the first P in the P2P, it's like the internal team. And this guides me a bit to the direction, like when you have hardware in place, but then also software with different, let's say, cycles, release cycles. How do you guide tech teams when your product is modular and always evolving? And then you need even to combine it with software and hardware that it's aligned. How do you do that?
Yeah, that's not so easy, because modular is nice, sounds every time good, but when you think modular can mean also could be everything, could be every dimension, it's not every time the same. And that leads to different obstacles in the sales process, in the design process, and also in the development process. And we have also some customers who know, okay, they can do everything. I have a really crazy application and I want to have developed it. And then it's not a sales question. It's more engineering questions. The leadership for the tech team, that's, as you said, hardware, long development cycles, but when it's finished, it's finished. It's every time the same. It goes into the assembly and the production. Software is much faster. And as we started, we have made a basic software system for a small application. Now it's totally modular. Every module is a possible customer application which can be customized. And the key is, due to this availability, to develop everything, control everything with software, to mix this with the customer needs and to investigate together with the customer which software features are interesting and for which there's a use case also from the economic perspective. We can do everything. We can develop everything. And engineers usually wants to develop everything because it's cool. I'm an engineer at heart. I can totally understand it. But it's very important to find the focus and develop the kind of stuff the customer really wants and also wants to pay for it.
So you're saying, like, when you realized, as you introduced also, that the real product is the software part,
yes,
then you also saw that it's each use case, like sorting, palletizing, it's like an additional software module as well. Like, so you also modularize these kind of steps and this to get this repeatability. But is it also like the business drivers are like the customers paying for this customization, or do you still need to standardize it? Can you maybe explain more on that?
Yes, of course, we need to standardize some of the main parts because also for us, it's easier. That's every time the same machine, which we are selling, of course. That's also the goal, not to make everything different. It's not happens so often that a customer has a totally new feature we don't have on our roadmap. They'd say, okay, that's something, Cellumation, please develop. And we say, oh, that's a brilliant idea. We didn't know this. Since we have modules for many applications, we have to prioritize in between them also. That means we have to look which total application, hardware and software, is for us potential to be a cash cow. And then we prioritize developing this kind of features and in this area when we look at the modules. But there are also some general developments like AI application, data analytics, and predictive maintenance, which are available for all systems. So it's a little bit distinguished between what we are doing and what we want to develop.
And when you talk about AI and I guess computer vision, so your system sees everything. So what's the next frontier you see? What's coming? Because I think logistics has a lot of potential for disruption in that case. Is this true?
That's true. And logistics is very old-fashioned. When you go into a warehouse, you see a lot of conveyors and very long, loud, not flexible. And yeah, technology is coming into it. There are some mobile robots and some drones, now our new conveyor. And I think there's a huge potential of using this kind of data. And we have a camera on top of our systems, sometimes even more cameras. And we are currently investigating the shape or analyzing the shape that we can make this tracking and tracing of the object. But we want to give the customers also some more information about the objects, sorting quotes, what is going on onto his conveyors, and giving some operational data. And that's something we see a lot of potential also as a software service we can additionally offer. Later on, there could be also some options like quality control, parcel damage, what kind of object is it? So I think we have a big value inside. We are a component of the whole material flow, but probably we are the most intelligent component inside, so we can tell others what to do or what could be a good option to do.
Hey, and Hendrik, with your experience to our tech leader audience, you moved from software engineering to CEO, like you're confronted with a lot more business topics, use cases, which you need to solve for your customers. What do you think is the brutal reality or the hack you needed to solve, which usually other engineers don't see? Do you have any recommendation for our audience?
Looking to my past, it's a mixture of never giving up, listening, very important, especially I think when you're a founder or you have built something new, you think of yourself that you know everything and that's the right way. In my experience, it's very good to listen to especially customers, but also employees when they have some ideas, and then bringing everything together and decide and make a decision, but have all the valuable opinions of your environment taking into account to this. And I think this is very important, especially when you're building something new. From our history, it was a university spin-off. Thought, and the university, as we were researcher, we thought we know the market because we have done something with logistics. But then looking back, we didn't really know it. And it was, of course, we know some technical systems, but how is it working? How are customers buying? What are their pains? What are they paying for? That's something you have to learn. And especially in the beginning, meeting people, telling them your ideas. Don't be afraid of telling secrets. Of course, not the secret source of your software, but what you want to do, what are your ideas, what could be a business model, and get feedback and implement the feedback. And the feedback on the beginning, I can say, is very hard. It's not so good, but when you listen to it and take the part of it which you feel, then you're on the right track.
Thank you. Hey, my last question is, you're based in Germany, and there's this EU AI Act, there is regulations coming, and basically every company touches a regulated market. And looking ahead with what you have with Cellumation, what impact do you think in this context you're going to have on the logistics industry? What do you want to have as a footprint?
As we started, we had the idea that every parcel delivered worldwide will be conveyed about our system. So we want to be implemented in all of the world. We have this year founded our US entity, so the Northern American market is also now on the target. Yeah, seeing the idea, what we have as an idea with nothing, seeing it all over the world running and delivering or sorting parcels, that would be really cool. So that we're bringing something from the birth to a global technology company. That is the idea and the vision we have.
And in terms of the strict data governance, is there anything you could also share? What would other tech leaders need to pay attention to?
That's hard to say because that's of course the data restrictions. We are currently investigating what it means for us, so I cannot say what we are going to do with it, but something which makes it of course harder for when you have to take something outside into account what you're doing. But I think it's necessary. So I'm not in the position to give an advice, only to follow the rules and play your game and that it's working.
Okay. Hey, Hendrik, thank you very much for sharing your insights, your journey. And we are looking forward to see you on the newspapers in the next few years.
Thank you, Mark. It was a pleasure.